Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
Welcome to another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
Show we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
I can't remember if you introduced the guest or if I just start talking.
We did it perfectly.
Every show is different. I don't remember from one appearance to the next.
We just sit quietly and wait to see what you'll do.
Yeah. It's a little experiment we do.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm esteemed author Jason Pargin.
Hey!
Not going to be negative about the state of the industry. I think maybe in the pre-show role, the banter that may or may not make the cut. I think it may have sounded like us being negative about the industry. That's not what we're here to do. This is Hypecast. This is for people who love cinema and are excited about seeing movies.
Yeah.
We didn't record any of that banter.
It's not
any
called
of the real dark
Dumpcast.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Now, I would listen to that show.
We could start Dumpcast. I think you can guess what the gimmick would be.
It'd be like, yeah. Would it be like the evil versions of us? I like the version where it's like a Bizarro.
No, I imagined us all recording from our bathrooms. I want a different direction with it entirely.
That is also a possibility.
We could do both.
But
we could be evil versions of ourselves in the bathroom.
recording. Would it have to be using the toilet or like doing just like bathing?
You continue to ask questions that are answered by the title Dumpcast.
That's fair. That's fair.
A
A lot of pauses of people being like, hold on a second. All right. Yeah. As I was saying, Jason, thank you so much for being on. At the start of this, is there anything you want to tell the world? Like if you have something going on that you perhaps need to plug or want to tell people?
Yeah, the book that just came out in September. I've only been on your show probably once or twice since then. The USA Today bestseller, I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom, did not make the New York Times bestseller list because they were too scared.
Yep.
It finished on the USA Today list above many books that did make the New York Times bestseller list, as if they conspicuously omitted mine, again, out of fear.
Yeah.
That's fine. You go read the book and find out why they were too scared to put it on their list of the bestsellers.
Demand
That's okay.
answers.
That's okay. Marty McFly doesn't read the New York Times. He reads USA Today.
That's true.
A publication that we know is going to exist into the future.
It's going to be around until at least 9 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, I forgot that we are far beyond the Back to the Future
We have
future.
left
How
it in
sad
the
is
dust.
that? Christ. We
It's
don't have
all
any
over.
of that stuff.
There hasn't been a single Jaws movie since 1987.
We can wear our
We're
pants
never going to get to
inside out.
Jaws 19
No.
or whatever it was.
Well, I don't know. We can still do that stuff. I don't know. I want that 80s cafe with the robot. Reagan.
Oh, yeah, where I can order from Max Headroom or the Ayatollah.
Yeah. And everybody would still know the reference for it.
Yeah.
2015?
2015.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about movies?
I guess that just make me sad now.
Well,
Speaking of which, there was a viral story that went around right before Wicked came out, where people were talking about we were on pace to have a situation where the top 10 movies were all sequels for the first time, I guess, ever. But now we've been saved from that by Wicked because it opened to some unholy amount of money. So that actually means only 9 of the top 10. So I looked, and of the top 20 movies in box office this year, how many of the top 20 do you think were sequels?
19.
You are wrong, and you are a cynic for saying that. It's only 16.
Oh, okay.
There were 4 original films in the top 20.
Gosh, I hope my cold heart gets thawed eventually. I don't know how I could
Hollywood
so
a profound apology. Now, I was curious. So I looked back at Box Office, the website that has all these results. Looked back 10 years ago to 2014. And it wasn't that much different. I think I counted 7 original films in the top 20.
It's been that way pretty much until since Marvel started taking over.
Yeah.
If you go back 10 more years to 2004, you find a different era. 15 of the top 20 were originals.
Yep.
5 sequels in the top 20.
There are people.
It was in that period. It was, Tom, I think you're right. Because Marvel started its dominance around 2008 was Iron Man. And then they had the Hulk movie, and then Captain America, Thor, and 2012's The Avengers. That was a point where you really started to see, because they were doing 3 releases a year?
Yeah, and it kind of coincided with Harry Potter and the Hunger Games at the same time. So there was a bunch of
Star Wars came back.
Yeah, and then Star Wars. Yeah, so it was all these multi-film franchises that were sort of getting pushed at the same time. They brought The Hobbit back. We were just talking about that.
Yep.
Dragged that Hobbit out of his hole once again.
There are people who are old enough to drink who are thinking nostalgic for the days where it's remember when we had original films like the Pirates of the Caribbean,
the Italian Job remake.
Master of Disguise, when we made real films, man, real films.
Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
The funny thing is, if you go to, because I guess this would be the counter argument, if you go look at, and I'm just looking at boxofficemojo.com, if you look at the list of films this year and you start to scroll down out of that top 20, do you find a big budget mainstream movie that should have been a bigger hit that got pushed out by all these sequels, right? Because that's what it sounds like we're saying, that whenever they do make an original movie, it gets squeezed out by these sequels. And it's okay, I'm looking at Red One. Civil War was never going to be a massive blockbuster. The Beekeeper.
Ooh.
That landed in all the hearts that it aimed for, I think. That movie's like The Running Man. It's secure.
Yeah, I mean, that is
its
the
legacy
thing
is secure.
I think it's shocking, but I think we, as younger generations have probably figured this out, where it's sequels for us, it was when you heard of number 5 of a sequel, you're that's a straight to DVD trash.
Yeah.
Where it was we thought of it as sequels were trash. And it's they made 10 Planet of the Apes in the 70s, that it's happened. But we've gotten used to the fact of watching Gladiator 2 and being this is good. Gladiator 2 is a lot of fun, It I don't know.
There was also a pace of it too that was exhausting. They used to let you breathe, even in movies you wanted a sequel to. Batman. The first couple of Batman movies, I couldn't wait for the next Batman. But now it's we have, you said, 3 or 4 superhero releases a year. It's it's way less. I don't know. It just feels like less of an event.
Which is this year has been better for superheroes. I will say, that new Captain America, I'm oh yeah, I could go for a superhero film.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter, yeah, I haven't had one in a while. They slowed down, so I appreciate that they slowed down with that at least. But
looking outside this top 20, you see more sequels that bombed, like the Joker movie.
Yeah.
$58 million. That's a catastrophe. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, $48 million.
Was that this year?
That couldn't have been this year.
Oh, was that last year's? Oh, gosh. Okay. No, it came out in December 22nd of last year.
Oh, okay, man.
It had its opening weekend.
It felt that movie felt 4 years old to me.
Yeah.
Madam Web.
Oh yeah.
So it's you're more. It's almost as shocking to see how many of these big budget movies they were not able to just print money for. I don't know. Just
And the Despicable Me movies continue to dominate as a series of films I have no connection to and have never watched. But I wish them well.
This is the thing that I think Hollywood is its weirdest blind spot. Parents are the one audience that is desperate for something they can take and babysit the kids at for a couple of hours or more with previews and everything else. And because that was the thing when that Super Mario movie came out, a lot of people saw that trailer. It's like, who asked for a Super Mario movie? And then it opened to like $400 million. And it's all just parents. Like, yes, anything. The kids are not making the decision. We need something to take the kids to. Yes, give us as many, put out a new Minions movie every 2 weeks. We will be there. It's a cheap date basically for the kids. They will sit there and they will watch it, and then we can doze off or sneak out to the bathroom and smoke some crack while the kids are watching the movie. But you look at you don't
makes
see
the
a ton
popcorn
of that.
taste better.
Yeah.
Like, because there's Moana 2. It's like, who's asking for Moana 2? It's $240 million in like the first week. It's shocking that this top 20 is not more. Kung Fu Panda 4, $200 million. Does anybody remember what happened in Kung Fu Panda 3? No. Guess what, guys? A lot of these kids have no idea what Kung Fu Panda is. The parents need somewhere they can take their kids to where the kids will sit quietly for a couple of hours.
It's like the cat TV of birds. It's like that. You stick it on.
Yeah, just show the kid some birds. They'll be fine.
But they've been starving for movies. You can scroll down this list. You do not find many big like animated for kids features, high quality, and it seems like that's the surest bet in Hollywood right now, other than low budget horror, which is just instant money.
Yeah, it is pretty much those two. And I get it. I mean, I don't know. Kung Fu, man. All right, we should thank some producers first.
Yeah, we should probably
before we
thank
keep
some
I do this every time.
Yeah. And we love you for it. You just drive the train right off the tracks immediately. All right. Well, we have some producers to thank before we get officially started. Big old thank you to @NerdNumbers. Was glad to talk wrestling with Dave and Jeff. I enjoyed it as well. Thank you. Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to 2001: A Space McNulty Odyssey. Thank you to a turd curdling jump scare.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Andrew. Jason deserves more hype, McGuire. Thank you. Thank you to Andrew. How demands a single act of kindness.
And every word we're speaking today is an act of kindness.
It's true.
Let me take over. Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Ballet Karate Hulk.
Thank you.
Thank you to BLT22 EWHVIS-B exclamation.
Thank you. Thank you
to
that
Bootler
robot.
Bootlesson.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brockway loves the Meat Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you to Burrito says water, gym, sunscreen, kung fu, ska, self-care.
Thank you.
Thank you to buy Jason Pargin's highly controversial new book, I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom, out now.
Thank you.
This is not you, right, Jason?
No, that's. But I'm always flattered and humbled by that person, unless it turns out they are a terrible person, at which point I will disavow them. Say,
unless this shows up in a manifesto someday, and then you're
right. It's some like plan to destroy you through hubris or something. Like it's long con.
So back to what we were talking about, like the film Red One, that Santa Claus, The Rock action movie. Where it's
I'm
like, hey,
fascinated by this movie, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea that the studios know for a fact, Christmas, parents desperately need a place to take their kids. Let's do a live action movie with The Rock. Hey, the kids have no idea who The Rock is. He's a big, wrinkly, muscle-bound 55-year-old wrestler The kids do not. The decision-making process, like, yeah, let's throw $250 million at this live-action The Rock Santa Claus movie. That's what the kids want. Like,
I think it was initially going to be on streaming until The Rock got involved, and then it became a $250 million movie.
That, man, I can't wait to watch it.
It looks like a streaming. I'm so excited for us to watch this on a Friday, Dave.
Yeah. I was going to say, assuming I can watch it for free or not in the theater.
Yeah, we'll watch it on a movie night, I'm sure.
For me, I'm like, I don't know. They should know better than me. It's their job, but I'm like, yeah, I guess that could make a lot of money. I don't.
Why not?
Because it is like, what do parents bring in? That actually, this first trailer, Disney's Snow White, is exactly what's going to make $1 billion, right? Like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why so many, like, every year the Academy Awards are like one like genuinely good Pixar movie, or like 1 or 2 genuinely good movies, and then 3 like Minions quality films.
Oh, for best animated?
Yeah. It's because even like the most mediocre film can be a stratospheric success in this category.
But like, I guess what I've learned, like hanging out with my nieces and nephews who are into younger thing, is like this stuff means just as much to them as like movies did to us as kids. Where it's like
for sure,
movies, they still have like the good messages. They still have characters that people like. So that's where it's like, I get it ultimately. Where like, if a Despicable Me is like fun and good, it's like I get it. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like whatever Red One is, I think that's just it's probably real bleak to watch, right?
I'm talking about stuff that treats kids kind of like they're stupid.
Yes, like Red One.
Yeah, like Red One.
Although I'm not sure.
I feel like the Minions do that to a degree.
Oh yeah. But I'm not sure who Red One is for. I don't know.
The Mario movie that Jason mentioned. A lot of them skate by on being overwhelmingly mediocre because, like Jason was saying, they know that it's probably going to, as long as it looks like professional, probably do decently well.
Right.
And that's the way that these films succeed. They look great.
Yeah.
Unironically.
Oh, like, yeah. The Mario film was gorgeous.
Yeah. And that's what a little kid will love. They're going to rent that on Disney Plus and watch it 800 times on a loop. You know, Inside Out 2 made $650 million domestic this year. And that was a totally unnecessary sequel.
And yet they couldn't be bothered to pay the rest of the cast what they were asking for.
And because, again, the kids do not care.
That's true. They do not care whether or not that's...
Is that Mindy Kaling I hear? Is that...
You're right. They definitely don't care whether Lewis Black is there. What 5-year-old is going to be like, Lewis Black didn't come back?
That's Matthew McConaughey. I didn't know he was going to be in this. Okay. That's
all right. Speaking of things looking good, Snow White, Disney Snow White. We have to face this trailer. We just have to.
Now this is not animated. This is live action with so much CGI.
Isn't it though?
It's kind of animated and incredibly ugly, but it is a musical, and I was challenging them as I watched this trailer. I was staring it down, daring them to admit that this is a musical, because they have been hiding that in the trailers, trying to trick men into coming to the movie and being enraged to find out it's a musical. But no, they break into a song at the end, and it says in the little description that it's a musical. So good. They're starting to realize that the single most successful genre of film, really every musical hits. Just be proud about it.
Yeah, so here's my hot take is that I think this will actually be kind of fun if you get past, because it's not live action. It's them not having to pay animators by pretending it's live action, but it's CGI. It's like live action actors on a green screen, and everything else, every location looks CGI. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to know it's being written by Greta Gerwig and Erin Cressida Wilson. I think I said her name right. Greta Gerwig, of course, did Barbie movie. The other writer, she did The Girl on the Train and the adaptation of Secretary. So this is going to be wild.
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping she brings that energy into this movie. But like they're both
a
good
grim
writers.
fairy tale indeed.
Yeah, but they're both good writers. Mark Webb is directing, who did the Amazing Spider-Man.
I like Mark Webb. Yeah,
and so like for me, it's like it just looks. I can't get over it. Like it looks like it has this fog of blue. Where I'm like, why can't you just make it not blue? This drives me nuts.
Yeah, we're still stuck in that mindset.
And I have this issue for the next trailer too, which is like, be live action. Like we remember when we've done like what 10 Snow Whites.
A lot of them, yeah. I mean, these movies.
There's been like gritty live action versions.
Yeah, because the story itself is pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
so it's easier territory to do, and yeah, I mean, all like we were talking about how it's Greta Gerwig involved and Mark Webb involved, and the cast is pretty cool. These movies collect a lot of talent, like Dumbo, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin. They're just. Yeah,
they're just kind of, they got a lot of soul pounded out of them, I think, in the process or something.
I've said this so many times, but it's just so. This is the most cynical thing that Hollywood is doing right now, because it is just blatantly re-releasing an old hit to make another $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bummer.
I don't know.
The dwarves look terrifying because they're kind of if all of the humans in a fully animated movie looked like that, then you would say, okay, that's just the style, but they're animated in a style that is totally different from the people who are acting, the live action people in the movie. It's real weird seeing them in the same scene.
Yeah.
The mirror. I saw a shot of the mirror on like online before watching the trailer, and I thought it was from like the Daily Wire's Snow White that they're doing. It looked like that mirror. It doesn't look good. It looks like a 1998 computer graphic. That was shocking.
Like a PC game cutscene.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, like
Mark Hamill is going to step out of that portal and give us a mission.
I'm going to limit myself. This will be the last time I'll say this during this podcast. This looks like a streaming show.
Yeah.
It looks like, just visually. It has the feel. It's a flat feel of a mid-budget thing that was supposed to be direct to Disney Plus. But I say that about 80% of the movies that I see or trailers that I see. It's like that looks like a streaming TV show. It looks like a lot of low-budget, lower-end digital effects where it's competent but not convincing and not anything that dazzles the eyes. It's like they kind of did the bare minimum. It does not for 1 second look like they are actually in that location or that dwarf is a real thing that exists in the world. But I'm old. That's probably just my oldness talking. Maybe the kids don't mind it. Maybe they're used to this style. It looks cheap and flat to me, but
I've seen a lot of young people complaining about effects today too, and like comparing them to effects from the 2000s. And like, I think ultimately we just have a cinematography issue right now, and I don't know enough about
a sweatshop digital artist issue.
Yes, where everything is put through some process that's making it look bad.
I cannot pretend to be an expert. I follow a lot of effects people on Twitter who are very sensitive to the criticism, because the way people will phrase it is, well, this is lazy. It looks lazy. And of course, the people who work at the effects houses are dying at their desks.
Yeah, that was somebody that was working a 90-hour week that made that. Because
they said, if you go back to something like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is the comparison that people make, because like that was made in 2003 or something, and how that looks so much better. But they said that's a case where from the beginning you had a storyboard, and then it was shot for that. They knew exactly what they wanted from the start. The way Disney makes movies is they will always reshoot 40% of it. And so the thing is that they are constantly changing. And so you can see this in, for example, trailers for superhero movies where there's a shot where somebody throws Thor's hammer and the woman catches it and smashes it in her hand. And in the trailer, she's like in a dark alley. And in the film, she's outside in like a hillside in Ireland. And that's how they do it. They will decide during production, actually, maybe Thor shouldn't be on the ship for this scene. Let's paint him out of all of these scenes. And so they're doing it on the fly. There's not this singular vision of we're going to make this Davy Jones character look like the most amazing creature effect anybody's ever seen. And from the start, they know what it's going to look like. They shoot around what it's going to look like. They do it. This just kind of on the fly. So if you're on the other end of that, you're these effects houses. You're just 3 weeks from release. You're being told, you know what? We don't like the way the crowd scatters in this scene. It looks like too many people are dying. Get rid of the crowd. And it's just changes. And these people working around the clock and trying to get these things done on deadline. And so, yeah, it winds up looking cheap on a $400 million production. But because they want the flexibility to just constantly change things or change in response to focus groups, I guess, is that how they wind up doing it?
I think that's
Usually
where most of the money goes. That's where why people are like, how did this cost so much? It's like, because you're seeing the fourth version of this shot.
If not focus groups, it's just producers screening the movie and being like, well, this isn't going to work. We got to,
Which also means the cinematographer has to light for that, right? They have to light for this shot will either be outside or in a cave. We don't know yet.
Well, that's why everything's, I think Abe and Ganser have talked about this before, but that's why everything is kind of, or maybe it was you, Dave. That's why everything has that similar look, because they have to light it all the same way, because they have, it's flat lighting because they have no idea what the environment's going to be.
Yeah.
They will switch day for night. They did that a lot in the Zack Snyder, the Batman versus Superman catastrophe. Like they switched, like switching a scene that was shot during the day and just digitally making it nighttime. Like you're never going to make that look right. And then it's changing exteriors for exterior. It's like, hey, this was going to be in the Batcave. Let's put them on the mountaintop instead. It's like, well, you can just add some computer lighting. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah,
the viewers don't know what's wrong with it, but they know that it looks weird.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the eye right. And then there's something like you said it really easily. Like, it was a little bit ago with the example of maybe Thor shouldn't be on the ship. Let's paint him out. Painting somebody out of that is not an easy task. Like that's a painstaking process. So even something that seems as simple as, they can just use computers to cut that guy out. It's like somebody still has to sit there and paint over him digitally, or it's so even like these simple things that are part of, like, I guess the soulless engine still take. These people are still like crushed into dust trying to make these deadlines and make these things, these demands for that are ever changing. So yeah, totally. It's not fair to call effects lazy nowadays. It's just they're overworked and exploited. Like they don't have unions. It's a whole mess.
In the context of the next trailer, actually, I want to talk about this because next trailer is for a Minecraft movie. And in the teaser, someone on Twitter pointed this out. The "My name is Steve" shot reverse shot. There's a shot of Jack Black saying "My name is Steve," and they reverse shot to a group of people looking at him. If you watch that in the teaser, the sun in the shot and reverse shot is pointing in the same direction. And it's that where you're like, you didn't think about that, huh? It's like, it looks like the same background on both shots. It's shit like that where it's like, who knows what? I think what happened is they realized that they put the key light on the same side for the two shots and then had to do the effects that way to be like, okay, I guess the shadows have to go that way. It's that sort of shit where it's like, who knows what that scene was originally supposed to be.
I think it's more likely they stitched in a reaction shot from a different scene.
Oh, it could be that. Yeah.
Or God, for what? Because so much of the movies are written in the editing room where you're just cobbling stuff together.
Yeah.
And anyway, oh yeah, we're half hour into the show. We've done one trailer so far. So yeah, the Minecraft movie. This is the most aesthetically unpleasant film I've seen in a very long time. I am not saying that I know how a Minecraft movie could have been done, aside from doing it entirely animated.
Yeah.
Which feels like would have been the way to go. But then
Yeah.
you don't have Jack Black and all of the toddlers. Who do they love more than 62-year-old comedy musician Jack Black? If you don't have his face in the movie, is any 8-year-old kid going to want to go see the Minecraft movie if it doesn't have his favorite Jack Black in it?
This is all right. I'm a big Minecraft fan, and I'm going to see this movie, and that is a failing.
Oh,
on
you're part of the
my
problem.
part.
Okay.
They do a lot of the chicken reference was really fun. They do some references in this. The Iron Golem looks good. They did good with the Ender Pearl is a good gag with that. All Minecraft. I hate that they did the meme. The meme, ever since I was a kid, I yearned for the mines. I'm like, that's a 5-year-old meme. Come on. But the problem I think they face, because the creators of Minecraft, now that it's not that guy, are very positive people. They're like Apple. They do like yearly presentations of like, here's what we're doing next. And they're really excited about it. And you can tell they're probably very difficult to work with if you were, say, a writer trying to make a Minecraft movie where they're like, no, it has to be like this. Like, they're very protective of what Minecraft is. And I appreciate that. But the big problem is there's Minecraft fans who are 40 and there are Minecraft fans who are 4 years old, right? Like, it's like, how do you, and there's a huge amount of fans on both ends. So it's like, what do you do? You can make this like animated or whatever this is, but like, honestly, I think they just should have made Dungeons and Dragons. And I know that movie didn't do great, but that's how you should treat Minecraft, in my opinion, if you're doing a live action. Is say, like, don't do the block bullshit. Just make it look like an adventure world. Just do like caves and mountains and just shoot it live action. And they did sort of this weird Jumanji ass in between. And they're like really doing the like, hey, look at all these references. And it just feels like I'm trying to work with this trailer and this movie, but it's really testing me. It's really testing me.
I think it's like, if you just made it like that, just made it look like a regular adventure setting, then how is it a Minecraft movie, I guess?
Oh, you could have a lot of fun with it. So there is a plot, there is a goal in Minecraft, but like, have dungeons with skeletons, like walking skeletons. The Enderman is a unique creature. The Warden is a unique creature. Make a live action version of them that would be weird. Or creepers are unique, like, and have it be like, we're off to slay this dragon in this far off realm, and have them just do the things you have to do to beat the game. That's it. That's all you'd have to do. Like, because there is a series of steps.
Sure, I guess so. Yeah. The only comment I guess I have about this movie is like, we continue to suffer from the Lego Movie's success.
Yeah, we really do.
Where it's like, we're getting a lot of adaptations of popular licensed properties that are just about people using or interacting with the licensed property in the exact same way that we just do in real life.
In a meta way. What if we're sucked into the thing?
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me. They're doing Lego Movie.
Right. Yeah. But like, at least Lego Movie was saying something about, that movie had a point and was like an actual movie. This is just like, this is basically just playing Minecraft. Like I wrote in our notes, this is like a Moby Dick movie where it's just the guy reading the book out loud.
Right. And well, when you think about it, they've had success since that, right? The Barbie movie.
That was about something.
Yes.
More.
Yeah. The meta, and maybe this is about something, but I agree where like the Super Mario Brother movie was that, right? What if he got sucked into the Super Mario world? It keeps being like, what if they get sucked into the thing? And it's just this meta version. That's what I'm saying with this is like, you know what? Take it seriously. Just write. If you're going to make a Minecraft movie, do it like the Mortal Kombat movie. Do it like any other adaptation. Adapt the story that's in the game and do it genuine, even if that's silly.
Seen this trailer, every single comedy beat is look how stupid Minecraft is.
Yeah.
They literally have a character say, well, that nothing here makes any sense. You punch a tree and it becomes logs?
Right.
What? And it's just this nodding, winking toward the camera like, can you believe we spent $150 million to make this?
Right. It's like, no, I can't believe
Can you
it.
imagine? Like, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
and
thanks for the money, dickheads.
Yeah.
It's a lot of we comedians in this movie are way too cool for Minecraft.
Right.
And we know that you, audience, are way too cool for Minecraft, but we'll get over our embarrassment together. It's like, well, no, some people unironically love that universe and the feel of it and solving problems through creation of elaborate things. And I don't know what I would have done with a Minecraft script. I like to think I would have come up with something better than we've been transported to a fantasy world, but there's a dark force that is rising to try to take it over. And we, the people that have been plunged into the fantasy world, have to help try to save it, because that's a whole bunch of movies. But I guess they figure that, well, that template works.
Yeah, and this was either going to make $1 billion or $0. It feels
this
like
is going to make $1 billion. There's nothing
I'm
they
be
could
there.
have done. It could have been 2 hours of just a guy pooping onto the camera lens.
Right.
And
I mean, I think it's going to do huge internationally. Like, this is pretty close to a sure thing, I would think. Yeah, you never know.
Everybody they will be making Minecraft movie sequels probably until we die. That brand, everything about it, just prints money forever. I don't know why. I played Minecraft briefly for 1 hour and then thought, well, I feel like I've built pretty much everything that can be built.
See, I won't
I've completed Minecraft.
Yeah. See, I clearly am one of the people who would earnestly enjoy a movie that just did, because there's not character plots. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, right? Where it's like you can add in character elements and have a plot there, but there's a series of steps that are cinematic. You have to build a portal to go to a fortress, to fight these creatures, to take their the blaze rods that they drop, so that you can create this thing that'll help you find another fortress where you go through another portal to defeat a dragon. Like, that is the steps of a movie, right? Where it's like, okay, it's like a treasure hunt. It's we have to find this thing. You could write a live action adventure movie like Willow or anything else, where it's like we're going on an adventure. And it bothers me that they had to do what you guys are describing, which is like, oh, look, it's Minecraft. Can you believe it? It's like, take it seriously, or make Super Mario Brothers movie and make just a batshit live action dystopian film that has nothing to do with it. I'll accept that.
That's always the way to go if you can. If you can get away with it.
Yeah. Should we talk about this next one?
Yeah, let's move on.
Night of the Zoopocalypse. This came out of fucking nowhere. This is a PG film that's like a PG horror film from the mind of Clive Barker.
Yeah,
of Hellraiser fame, not just a horror guy, but BDSM psychosexual horror guy. And there's no reason he couldn't also have written a children's thing, but it's very vague. Every place I go to look it up, it says, well, it's based on a concept that he came up with. It doesn't say it's based on a short story or just a pitch. So I can't figure out what of his this actually came from.
A concept. I mean, when they phrase it like that, it sounds like maybe he said, what if there were zombies at a zoo one time?
Right. He's producing it. And so that. Like, I don't know. That's it. That's all.
I like it when they make spooky movies for kids that are kind of a little dark.
Yeah.
Because those were always my favorite ones as a kid, and those like really helped spark my imagination and stuff like that. Like, those were the movies that I would like obsess over, because like, you know, it affects you when you're like, oh, this is like kind of a little scary. So I appreciate a movie that does that, but this one is also loaded with I don't know. It's doing the lowest common denominator kids movie thing where it's just the stalest jokes.
Yeah, my niece, who I want to say is 3. Don't quote me on that. Her latest obsession is Megan. She loves Megan, And it's like, yeah,
Oof.
kids love shit like that.
Yeah.
Megan is perfect for kids. It's the perfect horror movie.
I watched when I was 3. I watched Jaws until the tape broke.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's not a movie for kids. I mean, but I'm like Return to Oz and like Labyrinth and some of the there's anyway. I'm all for a little dark strangeness, but yeah. Anyway,
I was watching slasher movies when I was like 8 years old. I thought it was hilarious because it's all slapstick. It's not supposed to be real. Like Friday the 13th,
he's
chops
Three
the guy's head off, and
Jason Voorhees is Three Stooges. Yeah.
Yeah, the skull goes bouncing down the stairs. You're not supposed to be sitting there like, my God,
yeah.
what if that actually happened to me?
Talons of terror.
Yeah, it's funny. It's slapstick. You're a kid. It's the same as seeing somebody fall down. It's we thought it was the way the blood gushes over everything. Yeah. And no, kids have a lot of capacity for that stuff. So
it was just a more realistic Home Alone.
Yeah, kids love.
I think the animation of this looks fine. It's got a distinct style. I think it's cool.
So that was the only thing that nudged me a little, because I'm like, I bet this is really good. I wish it looked a little more distinct. Like, this is one where I was like, man, I wish this was like style. I wish this was stop motion. But that's the thing, is like, so is like Disney Renaissance animation, where it's like it all looks the same. You have to somebody watch the movies.
They did that, and then everybody imitated that. So it's like, I feel like it's time for a new like Spider-Verse or something. Somebody to do anyway. That's
I bet this is a lot of fun.
So you mentioned that the cat is voiced by David Harbour.
Yeah,
this is a thing, again, promise not to be a negative episode just because I'm on it. But sure. The idea of one, as we said, a little, a 10-year-old kid being like, oh, that's David Harbour. I'm glad he's in this. But knowing that this, like, I'm not sure this gets greenlit unless they have star voice talent attached, which has zero impact on whether or not there are incredibly talented voice actors out there who are not just people who are famous for some other actual TV show. They're just really good at doing voice stuff. And that's all been taken over by, I know this is an old complaint, because when Chris Pratt got cast as both Mario and Garfield and whatever,
it's a real head scratch.
What does he bring to the table as a voice actor? Do you really think there are that many children who are like, well, I wasn't going to go see a Mario movie, but when I heard that Chris Pratt was attached, like, I knew I will watch anything he's in. It's like, well, if you were a fan of Chris Pratt, you wouldn't watch this. You'd watch something he was actually in. Yeah. His face was in. The whole thing with attaching superstar voice actors as the voice talent to cartoons, I don't get if that's supposed to be for the parents, because a whole lot of the budget goes to that, right?
Yeah, and if you like all the Disney Renaissance films, with the exception of Aladdin, because Robin Williams is in it, but I mean, he's
kind of a kid's voice actor too.
Yeah, he was in a lot of kids stuff.
Yeah,
and he also kind of famously didn't want to be credited. But like, none of those movies have stars. They're all Broadway actors, because you needed to be able to sing, because they're musicals. So there are all these like theater actors and performers, and like Beauty and the Beast is one of their biggest hits. That doesn't have any stars in it, right?
But the Robin Williams thing is what convinced them.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Find me a TV comedian or a film comedian who's already famous, because they totally misunderstood that he also is a genius voice actor. And even if he was not famous as Robin Williams, like if that had been his first performance ever, like if he had been toiling in obscurity prior to that film, you would have gotten the same result, because he can explode with his voice and his improvisation and all that.
I do think there's like Angela Lansbury in Beauty and the Beast, where it's like, well, but those aren't like, they didn't have her star as Belle, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not, they still know it's not the draw. They're like, yeah, we can have these actors that the parents can go like, oh, I remember them, or I know who that is. But like, as a draw, it's weird. It's a weird thing to do.
Little Mermaid, that's maybe a better example. There's definitely nobody in Little Mermaid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's
I don't know. Maybe kids like the Stranger Things, and I don't know. September 5, September 5, not 5th. This really, I watched this in theaters, and I was like, well, what's the name of it? Like, you've told me when it's coming out,
right?
And then you've told me when it's coming out twice, and they were both different. But you're like debating yourself. It's rename,
Am I supposed to guess?
Yeah, rename your movie.
This trailer hit. I'm curious to hear how it landed in a theater. This trailer hit me like if that one scene from the newsroom where they go up front to let everybody know that Osama bin Laden is dead.
Yes.
If that moment was made into a 2-hour film.
This is someone watching the movie Munich and being like, what if we did a movie
but what about the
lesson
reporters?
Okay. So
the heroic reporters.
This is a star-studded Oscar bait movie that I do not doubt is going to win a bunch of Oscars. This is, for people unfamiliar, this is about the Munich massacre, where in the Munich Olympics in 1972,
I want to say,
the Israeli Olympic team was kidnapped and held hostage by some Palestinian terrorists, and then in the course of trying to rescue them, spoiler alert, they were all killed. So this is a film about the fact that event was covered by not the traditional journalists who would cover a war or crime situation, but by the people who were there to cover the Olympics.
Yep. And so as implied in this trailer, they fucked it up.
Yeah, because they were trying to cover live the rescue attempt, and the terrorists were just watching on TV like, oh, they're trying a rescue attempt. We're watching it now. They're on our roof. But not to make light of it, because this is, in my opinion, the worst possible time for this movie to come out, because it is about Israelis being held hostage by the evil Palestinians.
Yep. Yeah,
and there's going to be discourse with a capital D around this film. It arrives in January, I think.
Yeah. No, I think it's coming out
September 5.
Yeah. I looked it up. It's coming out December 13th, according to Wikipedia. So soon. And I think it's that. And then it's also, I don't know. I don't think anybody is happy about how the media is covering anything anymore. And the tone is weird, because the tone doesn't seem to be like we're patting ourselves on the back, but we're kind of patting ourselves on the back.
But it is at the same time. Yeah.
But also we fucked up. Like, it's about them fucking up, but then it's about like, look at these brave journalists sticking their cameras at this thing. It's so weird tonally, and like there's so many things that I'm like, yeah, read the room right now.
Yeah, there's a couple of things about it where it's like, it's not only treating like, I mean, one of the poll quotes was a heart-pounding examination of journalistic ethics.
Right.
So it's focusing on the weirdest people to focus on. Like, there could be, the movie you could make from this side of the event would be about how everyone fucked it all up.
Yeah.
Like how they fucked it up, and how, like, they mentioned it in the trailer where they're like, these are regular policemen. They've never handled anything like this. That's the reason it becomes a massacre. Right. Is because the people who tried to rescue the hostages fucked it up entirely.
Right. And it doesn't seem like it's about, again, like it's framed as like a thriller. And I'm like, what are you saying about these people?
We know what happened. Like, you can't present
confusing.
Right. You can't present this like a pot boiler thriller, because we know what happened. So you have to be saying something, and this is like the weirdest statement to try to make.
Right. Because if it's like, here's the story you weren't told, that idea, then it seems like it has to come down hard on the journalists and show like how this was fucked up. It just, like, this trailer to me feels like it's like, what if we told Apollo 13 from the perspective of the reporters, like hounding their house when they were
right. They're like,
when they weren't sure they're coming back, hounding the family's house.
I think
like it's that.
I think this movie maybe thinks it has that tone, or those stakes, because it seems like it's trying to treat the newsroom like Mission Control with Ed Harris and Apollo 13.
Like
no, there are actual stakes there. The stakes here is you're making television that people want to continue watching.
Right, like they've been given a fake steering wheel and they're acting like they're driving the car.
Really pulled us out of that.
Hey, I'm sorry, but if you want a film that is guaranteed Oscar nominations and guaranteed good reviews and guaranteed to make best of the year, end of the year lists, You either got to make a movie that's about the magic of Hollywood,
Yep.
and how the real heroes are the writers and directors and actors, or about the magic of journalism.
Yes.
Because the people who make those lists and who review your movie, they're journalists and they work with journalists. So about how the real heroes are the journalists, the people down there in the trenches trying to bring you the news, risking everything. So this feels kind of formulaic. I don't doubt that it is very well made. I think it will win all of the awards. It would be amazing if it was like an Inglourious Basterds thing where it ended with them rescuing all of the hostages. Just a total career ender for everyone involved.
Peter Sarsgaard just sprouts Wolverine claws all of a sudden.
Amazing. And like, maybe this is a good movie. It's just right now I'm like, bad job with the marketing. Like, this trailer isn't selling it and the name isn't selling it. And it's confusing.
It looks expertly crafted. I suspect that this has been in production for a long time. I think it is the world's worst time for it to come out because, like, look at these animals kidnapping these innocent Israelis and, holding them hostage. And I don't.
There's definitely that. I've seen that before with movies where it's like it's been in production for 10 years. And then they're like, all right, we're just fucking making it. And it's like, all right, well, you picked the worst possible time, but all right. I get it.
Not to make this about me, but and I'm just totally severing this part of the conversation from any discussion of Israel. But in my book, the one that came out now, spoiler alert, there's talk of, without getting too specific, a very high-profile assassination attempt against public officials. And just before the book was to come out, I thought I watched Donald Trump get shot and killed on TV, and thought, "Oh, are they going to have to not release the book now because it's because my books have kind of a tone, like I kind of." It's kind of lighthearted, and spoiler alert, it gets extremely stupid at the end. It's like, is this now going to be considered the wrong time to bring out a book that kind of jokingly plays with the idea of federal officials of certain, without spoiling anything, being targeted for assassination? Now that the nation is in mourning over Donald Trump having his head exploded on live TV in 4K by an AR-15, are they going to just bury this book and never release it? Terribly, incredibly selfish thing to think. I mean, the poor man was almost shot in the head.
Jason, he would have had the exact same thought about you. Yeah, but I'm just picturing you sitting there at home like, am I about to get big troubled? That's our 9/11 reference for today.
Good. Let's talk about the Soul Eater. I don't know why this is on here. It only has like 12K. It looks fine, like nothing against it. But I watched it again today. And I was like, wait, why did I?
Oh man, you think it looks good?
Looks fine. I'll watch it.
I think this looks so corny. Like, I was laughing this entire trailer.
I mean, my bar for horror, where I'm just like,
I know you like them possession creep movies.
I just like them anything mostly.
That's
where
true,
I'm just like, I like horror, so I'll watch it. I'll watch it if it's horror. Smile 2 is now free, so I'm like, well, guess what I'm gonna do?
Guess we're watching Smile 2.
But yeah, I don't know. This looks fine. Jason, you're right. It looks dubbed. I can't tell why.
I think it's a foreign film.
I can't tell because some of the shots, it was like, is it out of sync or is it?
Here's why I think that, because part of the reason I thought it was so corny and I was laughing at the trailer is there's no it's not, the sound is not mixed very well. So like you can tell it's all like ADR recording or like looped recording being played that doesn't have the same like ambiance and like, like in trailers normally there's like you get a little bit of not exactly room tone, but like there's a uniformity to the sounds you're hearing, even though they're being assembled from entirely different portions of the film. Like this doesn't have that, so it just feels like a trailer you edited on your camcorder just the old-fashioned way, just by starting and stopping footage. Like it feels really disjointed audibly or in the soundtrack. So I think maybe that's why it was so jarring with the lip syncing, or that's an additional reason why.
Okay, it says it's based on a novel by Alexis Leipzger. All of their novels are in French. This is a French author, French book. Makes me think this is a French production.
It's a French movie because I also just realized who directed it. And this actually made me excited for this movie a little bit. It's the directors and writers of The Deep House. Now, if people haven't seen The Deep House, it wasn't like the best movie,
I really didn't like it.
I really liked the spunk of this movie, which is it's a haunted house movie, but the gimmick is the house is it's a house that had been long flooded in a lake. So the whole movie is scuba divers. It's scuba divers in a haunted house. And that was a really ambitious thing to do because I bet
that's a great premise.
Yeah,
and
premise.
it was
I've never seen The Deep House, but that's a great premise. Haunted underwater house.
Yeah, because like I live near in Massachusetts, the Quabbin Reservoir is this area, this town that was flooded, as featured in the movie In Dreams. So like these things exist, like where like they needed to create a reservoir, they flooded this area, and they moved everybody out. It's like some sort of situation like that. But like it was a really ambitious movie to make that was really like I think they were in over their heads.
Yeah.
Pardon my pun.
Pun intended.
But it was that where it's like they needed a little more money because it was like they couldn't quite do the things they wanted to, it felt like. But for me, I'm like, you get a freebie for just having that idea. Like that was a really ambitious idea. Like it would be a good remake. Like I think someone should remake The Deep House.
And I think everything that I thought was weird or offbeat about this trailer, the fact that it's a French movie answers my questions. It just looks the dubbing's a little weird. It's cut around the dialogue a little weird. I just think they did kind of a sloppy job but I think it's one, if you're watching it, if it's in French, watch the subtitled version.
Yeah.
I have to point that out because a lot of streaming services are defaulting you to the English dub.
Boy, they sure do.
It's awful.
Started to try to watch RRR on Netflix again recently.
No.
And they like suddenly everybody's speaking English, and I had this bizarre moment where I was like, wow, I've seen this movie so many times that I'm kind of hearing it in my own language. That's so crazy. Like, oh no, wait, I'm listening to the dub.
You're sitting there thinking, did I learn the language?
I have learned Hindi because I've seen this movie too many times. And like, oh wait, no, they've even though the movie knows I watched it before, they defaulted it because like, well, surely you're not going to want to read this movie. And like, no, the quality of the acting in it dub is rarely good at all. Even on very prominent productions, a lot of times they may be doing their best, but it's just somebody in a sound booth, like trying to voice. It's not the same thing.
They're usually by themselves. You can tell when they record together, like Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh recorded together for The Road to El Dorado, and you can tell by the energy of their performance. But like, have you ever like, we own The Raid on Blu-ray, but have you ever made the mistake of throwing The Raid on Netflix? Because they started in the English track too, and that is jarring.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they do it for everything because that's the Netflix series Dark, which is one of my favorite things ever. That when people harassed me to watch it, and I tried to watch the first episode, I was like, this is so corny, and what is it? And like, now are you sure you're not accidentally watching the English dub?
Right.
Because they were straight up like not putting inflection on the lines. They were just, it was real bad. And then finally, watched it in the original German or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. This is a show that needs to be read.
2 seasons in. And I just love that it's like Germany, like we can make a Stranger Things too. And it's just the bleakest fucking thing.
German ass Stranger Things.
It's really German. It felt really German. And I know I've never been to Germany. It's a delight though. Everybody should watch that. Speaking of underwater things from
that'll work.
From before, Last Breath. This is underwater Gravity. It's Gravity but underwater.
Yeah.
It's based off a documentary about a real thing that I never want to know about. Because I'm sure it was just terrifying. Made by the same director. It's the same director, not to be confused with The Last Breath that I'm now looking at from 2024, which is a shark movie. So you could get it confused.
Man, there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It's what if
No, the water one. Yes, the water one.
Yeah. What if you're underwater and you're stuck and Woody Harrelson has to come get you?
Yeah, Woods Harold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an odd thing. Back when the film The Abyss came out, which, by the way, this is I have no doubt that if I sat down to watch Last Breath, the one thing that would occur to me is it does not look as good as The Abyss, because these days it's illegal to do what James Cameron did.
I think it was illegal then.
It was illegal then, where he finds, a giant ocean-sized water tank and just builds an entire set under there and makes the actors live underwater for 2 years while they shoot this thing, and everyone nearly drowns 4 times and everyone gets hypothermia. Should not have been allowed.
Oh, so I just wanted to give the listeners context real quick. It was an old, out-of-use nuclear cooling tower, to give you an idea of how big it was, how deep it was.
Extremely radioactive still.
Right.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is because when that movie came out, I remember vividly, because this was like 1989.
I believe, yeah. 88 or 89.
And Siskel and Ebert, it was Roger Ebert who said this movie, The Abyss, didn't need the alien stuff. If it had just been a straight thriller about underwater facility, hurricane up top, cuts them off, they're on a ticking clock, there's a nuclear submarine they're supposed to do a rescue of, but they've got a bomb that's going to detonate. It's now a technical challenge watching these people having to swim through freezing water and escape drowning and try to survive long enough. He's like, that would have made a perfectly fine movie. When you tack on an hour of, oh wait, there's aliens down here, he's like, to me, it takes it to a totally different place, and it's just not, he's like, it didn't need it. The movie didn't need it. And I thought at the time he was crazy. I watched The Abyss again earlier this year because this is the 25th anniversary, and agreed 100%. The submarine stuff, the conflict with the military guys, the technical stuff, how beautifully like everything is portrayed, the facility, you understand how it works, running from room to room as the thing gets dragged across the ocean floor because of the currents. That stuff is fantastic. I think the alien stuff looks kind of bad. I think a lot of the early digital effects kind of don't look great. I don't think the alien designs are great. So this film is my roundabout way of saying this is kind of that. It's The Abyss if the aliens didn't show up. Although, again, would be very funny if they pulled an Inglourious Bastards and in the third act of this movie, Cthulhu turns up on the ocean floor.
That would be amazing.
Well, tells him how disappointed he is in humanity. You shouldn't make war.
If you don't know that it's based on a true story, you're kind of watching the trailer going like, okay, when is the shark coming? Because that's what it feels like.
Fully expecting a sea creature,
But it's like,
those pirates.
There's a reason I don't go in the ocean. You don't need to add bullshit. It's just being in the ocean sucks.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. You go.
I love movies that do this. That just take gravity's not a simple situation, but like it's a simple situation that you can kind of explain it very quickly. So movies that like focus on, they don't need to add like we were saying, a shark or all these other problems, just really focusing on how serious of a problem just this one thing would be. Right. And then just like using every single layer of that.
And a lot of movies like The Abyss, it's funny. I get this with Titanic, although you can't cut it out where you like watch Titanic and you're like, oh, right, the boat's going to sink. You like forget. Mm-hmm. Obviously it'd be weird if you didn't include that. But like another movie that occurs to me is The Edge, where like you get through the edge and you're like, wait, this is also, there's like an extra thriller. And that's another genre where it's like, you just kind of needed the woods, where it's like just existing, trying to survive in the woods.
The bear was a pretty big factor.
Yeah. You don't need this extra threat that happens at the end. It's funny because like they all seem to do it. And then, someone eventually realizes that.
I haven't seen this one. yet, but there was a recent one called Fall, where it's just these two friends stuck on an antenna tower. And so I don't know, I can't speak to the quality of the movie, but I love premises like that. And like this movie's extremely my shit, so I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah, apparently, and I'm not going to spoil it, and I haven't seen Fall either, but apparently there is extra shit in that movie. It is not just that.
Fall is a very good movie. I've watched it. It is survival. Two people stuck on top of a big tower. It's very creative in how they have to try to get out of it. Now, I do believe it did so well. They're making a sequel where the same two dumbasses get stuck on top of another tower.
Really?
And that's the case where you're now rooting for them to fall off.
Yeah, I was about to say,
no, this is you've defied natural selection at this point. You should not be allowed to pass on your genes.
I was gonna say, like, I obviously, like, I have empathy, but like movies like Gravity, this movie, the Last Breath, or literally anytime people get stuck on a roller coaster, something that I love to do. I've skydived. I do think, like, what a hilarious problem we've created for ourselves.
Right, we didn't need to make this problem.
Yeah, we didn't need this problem, and it's like, oh no, I'm trapped at the bottom of the ocean. It's like, oh. How'd you get down there? Oh, I went. I wanted to see what was down there.
The mountain climber disasters is the one that I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because to climb Mount Everest, it's like $100,000 and you have to reserve it, and you're in line with a bunch of other millionaires. It's like, yes, but then the winter came early and we got snowed in. Like, well, you could have stayed home. You weren't up there to rescue somebody else. You didn't go up there because it's your job to, like those Sherpas are the ones I feel sorry for. That's how they make their living. You're just a rich person who has conquered every other area of life, and so you're bored.
Yep.
And so you want to be able to climb Everest so that at your cocaine parties you can boast to the other rich people. There we were, and then the winter came early, and the temperature dropped to 20 below zero.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't have to be up there at all. Nobody asked you to do that.
Yeah, what an expensive way to die. You know, like
I wanted to challenge myself. Like, why don't you challenge yourself to like fix poverty?
Yeah.
Challenge yourself to like cure cancer. To push yourself to do something boring. Can you tolerate boredom?
Yeah.
No, that's why all these tools start adventure clubs.
Yeah. Can you try, challenge yourself to solve a real problem? It's like, no, we took a tour to Africa where they have a bunch of sedated lions. We shoot them from the back of a pickup truck.
A car. Yeah.
While they're asleep, and then we pose with their corpses.
I think we covered it on Cracked once, but like literally, if you pull out just slightly, zoom out just slightly on any of those photos of the summit of Everest, you can see a huge line of people waiting to get to the summit and take their picture, like they're waiting at the food court in the mall. And what you can also see are bodies all over the mountain. It's the most. The juxtaposition is so striking. It feels like bad satire.
There's tons of trash up there.
Also a lot of trash. Yeah.
There's now you have 5G coverage all the way up the mountain, so you can watch you can stop and watch YouTube if you want.
That's also kind of not a bad thing if you get lost up there too.
Yeah. I also have something that I actually said this the other night, and I feel like it's a little controversial, but it just doesn't seem that high up. And I know it's literally the highest point, but hear me out, because when you're up there,
it's in the upper atmosphere.
But here's what I mean. Hear me out. Like, I went to the Rockies, which is really high up, but you gradually go there so that when you go up a mountain, it doesn't actually feel that high.
Oh, right.
Because you've already gone really high up. So like the summit of Everest, when you see pictures, I'm like, that looks the height of like the mountain I climbed in my hometown. Right. Relative to where the like, it doesn't look that high.
I'm just picturing.
I know it's literally the highest place, but it doesn't look as impressive as like that movie Fall we were talking about. While you're doing
it, yeah, I could. Yeah, I could picture you on a plane being like, "Well, this is just the same room."
Yeah. No, but so a plane is more impressive to me because you see the distance. Everest, when people are taking a picture of the summit, I'm like, that could be any mountain range. Like, it's just a mountain range, so it doesn't look that high up.
That could be a toy mountain. I don't know.
Like, I could probably find a mountain range that looks similar and take a picture and go like, yeah, I went to Everest.
While you're dancing like Baryshnikov.
It doesn't look that high. You understand. You guys understand.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Aladdin.
Aladdin 3477.
Aladdin 3477.
I swear
Chin of Wisdom.
to God, we covered this years
Well,
ago.
this has been a production since 2014. This has been 10 years in the making. I think you get productions like this where it is one person financing it, and they'll shoot a bit of it, and then it'll be a couple more years before they can get an investor to give them another $500,000 to go do. But it says they shot it. It looks like it's weird because if you watch the trailer, again, it's called Aladdin 3477, the Chin of Wisdom. But the trailer looks like kind of like a Indian production, like a Bollywood production, but they shot it all over the world. They shot part of it in India and I think Thailand and Indonesia. And it seems like the production team or the guy behind it, just where they could find time, went and shot more of the movie and have just been kind of trying to get it made over the course of all these years. It's unique in how it looks.
To be clear, it is not an Indian film, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, not as far as I can tell. It's an American production, and a lot of it was shot like in Michigan. But it has that feel of, if you watch the trailer, you'll see what I mean.
It's trying to, it feels like it's trying to attract that crowd. I just need to point out that if this came out in 1976, it would be the biggest franchise that ever existed. And it's my feeling whenever Lucas, Star Wars is a whole unique idea and everything else is copying it. But it's just funny when you go back and watch A New Hope and you watch the original version and everything kind of looks like shit. And you're like, this is no different than
it's really not
realize, it's just a bunch of horse shit. It's it's called Star Wars. And then it's here's a laser. It's called a lightsaber. Here's Chewbacca. It's a guy in a Bigfoot suit.
A bunch of rubber-looking gleep glorps rolling around.
It's just amazing how being first, because again, I'm not taking anything away from the imagination of Lucas. It's more of, I'm saying that this guy who made Aladdin 3477 has a vision. He's building a world. Is that world dumb? Maybe, but so is all of them. They're all stupid.
Abu is a flying monkey in this a flying robot in this version, which is an improvement.
Sure. It's the magic carpet and the monkey.
Right. Yeah. You just combine them with the robot though.
Yeah.
It's because it's the future.
Cannot overstate the degree to which in 1970s, whatever year, 77, that the degree to which Star Wars was just Flash Gordon.
Right.
It really is.
This is, he took Flash Gordon and renamed everything.
Right. We were talking about the sequels issue, and it's we had other ways back in the day. They weren't direct sequels, but it's the same with Indiana Jones, where it's these are the things that they grew up with, that they're inspired by, that they're just sort of doing again. But that's
true.
Indiana Jones is a ripoff. Yeah.
I want to say that the director of this movie did the art department for Hard Rain. And if there's anything you could say about the movie Hard Rain, good art department stuff, good set decoration. That movie looks good.
Not bad. They do some cool tricks in that movie. That is true.
Yeah. He also was the storyboard artist for The Matrix. So this guy, I don't know what this guy's up to. I'm all right, let's see this vision you have, because it looks it
looks insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like someone who has. There's going to be 3 of these, by the way. There's planned 3 Aladdin 3477s. This is his avatar.
Is the next one going to be 3478? Do you think?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
How are they going to tackle it? Do you wonder?
I mean, I hope by the 3rd one we're giving it a huge budget. This is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Like you said, it's like Avatar.
Yeah, it's his avatar. I don't know. Again, it's like watching Neil Breen movies where you're I appreciate your enthusiasm, and this doesn't look bad.
I really want you to win the lottery, Neil Breen.
Yeah, this doesn't look bad. This doesn't look necessarily. It's just what is this? What is this world you've created?
I mean, it does look bad, but it looks bad in the camp sort of way, and not a little bit deliberate camp, but not so much that it's grating.
Right.
Comes by it
it's
honestly,
not
it seems.
Sharknado. It's
No.
yeah.
Bad that somebody's passion project will always be in a different category for me. That's why I don't care that much about making fun of Megalopolis, because it's like, yeah, it looks like a Neil Breen movie. Every clip I see from it looks like a Neil Breen movie.
Yes.
But it's bad. It's a bad, and also somebody's lifelong dream to make it.
It's
I
incredible.
want the whole George Lucas being allowed to make Star Wars that absolutely looked like a Megalopolis-sized disaster while it was in production. The studio did not. They thought he had just stolen a bunch of their money to play with his toys, and they tried to dump it, and then suddenly it caught fire. But when they were seeing the dailies from it, it's like, Jesus Christ, there's like a golden guy. He's like in a golden suit of armor or something, and he's like British. What?
Yeah.
They hear David
He's
Prowse's
neurotic?
muffled Scottish accent. Oh, Christ.
Yeah, I mean,
Gosh, I wish I was a talented voice actor and I could do a David Prowse Scottish Darth Vader. Where are the droids? I can't even begin. I can't even begin to do it.
Do you
No,
think they still
I don't
have
feel
that audio
confident enough to
somewhere?
launch into a Scottish one, right?
But like you've seen those dailies like without the John Williams score, and you just hear like footsteps clonking around. They had to have looked like the biggest, most expensive turd in history.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, what did we pay to send him? What is this, Tunisia? So this is what he was doing that whole time?
You can hear the generator for the lights running.
The original
Every
Job of the
shot.
Hut was just a guy in a fur coat.
It
Have you
was
seen
just
that
a
footage?
guy. It was just a guy with a beard, right? Oh no, he doesn't have a
Yeah.
beard.
Satan
But
is
he's
literally
just a
there.
round man, yeah. The Christian
Satan?
devil is in Mos Eisley, just enjoying a drink.
Oh, movies
Such
are
a
dumb.
terrible movie.
They really-
Yeah.
I love it
Painful
so
well.
much. It's the stupidest movie ever.
Yeah. But it's art. I mean, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like this stuff
It's a bold creation.
it's when it's one or
Yeah.
a handful of people
The
like,
thing
this is
with-
what we want to make.
Not to get off on a tangent, even though I know we're an hour and 20 minutes in this episode.
Sure.
And we've not even finished all of it. But the fact that it came out as Star Wars, and then after it was in theaters, George Lucas makes them change it to episode 4, A New Hope. What
Yeah.
kind of an asshole? It's like, oh, I want you. This is part 4. I forgot to tell you, it's been playing in theaters for months.
It was
It's-
already a
no,
hit,
this-
right?
Yeah, it's part 4. I need you to send out new prints. This says part 4, A New Hope.
Right,
It
yeah, he didn't
feels like-
rename
It was
it
the
until
first-
after it became a hit. Yeah.
Right. It
It's
feels
the
like a
first
troll,
movie-
right?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like he was bluffing, right? Because they shat on him so much before, and now he made all this money. So he's like, yeah, he's trying to see how much he can get away with, right? Like
Right,
a
where he's
toddler
like, you know
testing
what?
his boundaries.
It's part
Episode 4,
4. Yeah.
because I'm gonna make
And
1,
this-
2, and 3. And
Sure, man.
7, 8, and 9.
Used- We're so used to that you don't realize how insane that is. That
Yeah.
people were going to see
Yeah.
The Empire Strike Back, and it's like episode 5, and how many grandparents were like,
What the hell? there were
5?
3 other Star Wars.
Did the rest of them go direct to TV or something? Were they on the television? Where I don't remember the rest of them coming out.
There were 2 Ewoks movies, but I don't think they had come out yet.
No.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm
We
sorry.
should probably move on.
all right. Let's thank some more producers.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Big old thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparks Esquire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to David Ruff.
Thank you.
Thank you to David Knife
Knife
Boot
Boot.
Henson.
Thank you.
Thank you to Deborah's Awesome. Barbara's Great and Cancer Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula the Bus Driving Vampire.
Toot toot.
Thank you to Driftless Argento Presents Dawn of the Drift.
Thank you.
Thank you to Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J. Mostly Comes Out at Night. Mostly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls.
Thank you. Let me swoop in here. Thank you to Highlander Likes the Way Tom Says. Pretty sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Happy Holidays from their lead lawyer at Voorhees Kruger, our drug dealer keeper awayer.
Thank you.
Thank you to Impossible Worlds. We have your Swaim and will release him for the cost of your subscription.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Mime on a podcast.
You missed one, but thank you.
Oh, thanks to Lieutenant Frank Drebin, Police Squad.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm reading it through my microphone screen. Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mongolian Throat Skanking.
Thank you.
And thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Thank you. All right. News stories. Jason, I like what you had there. Is there anything we want to talk about with these other two news stories?
Not really.
To answer your question, Tom, the porn link is wicked.com.
And it's really tame.
Yeah.
This lawsuit is nonsense. Wicked.com it's the biggest like porn for the people who are so addicted to porn that they're buying physical media, like the DVDs.
Right.
Like how far gone do you have to be that you are actually still going to a truck stop and
you want
buying
what
you want
dark
like a
corner of
Blu-ray.
desperation are you existing in?
Yeah, when your phone is always one, like I can accidentally bring up porn on my phone in
Right.
3 taps.
Yes.
Like I have the Reddit app. If I click the wrong thing, I'm now on the porn subreddit.
We're all
Full
exist in a
8K.
perpetual state of almost sending pornography to a loved one by accident.
When I worked at Cracked, I accidentally in the office did full screen porn while researching. Just filled my screen in the middle of the office with pornography.
There used to be years and years ago, like in 2006 or 7 or something like that, there was an ad for occasionally tech companies will do an ad for like, this is what the future will look like. This is what your future home will look like. And it was a guy and it was like a home where everything is a screen. And he wanted to show some photos to like his wife. So he just sat his phone down on the kitchen counter and his whole phone app displayed on the kitchen counter, like spilling out of his phone all of the photos. And he's like started tapping through like here, this is the color I want for the kitchen. And obviously you're immediately imagining having your phone in your back pocket and you sit on the counter and then all of the pornography sprays over your every surface in your house on your smart fridge that's supposed to like show what's inside. It's all
just a sea of butts.
16K pornography. It's like a deep fake AI of your neighbor that you've had made. Because it's the future, right? When everybody will be able to do that. Yeah. So anyways, this is the Wicked doll. People have not heard of this controversy. The Wicked merchandise went out, and for the website, it's supposed to be wickedmovie.com. Instead, they printed it as wicked.com because people probably looking at the package thought, how would Disney not have the wicked.com domain?
I assume Mattel was just like, I'm sure wicked.com, right? Yeah.
Like how hard to get, like surely you can get it if you don't have it yet. Well, Wicked is the biggest porn, like probably makes more money than Disney. It's a long running company.
Disney pornography.
Like Stormy Daniels of Trump fame, she was like a Wicked. Like that's Jenna Jameson. Any normie who can name a porn star, this is the Disney of porn.
Yeah.
But their website takes you to an age gate. Like you immediately, are you over 18? Warning. And you click on it, and then you see the most tame Cinemax thumbnails of like a woman with like a robe open, kind of showing her boobs. That you are not shown penetration. Like these news stories are like, well, my toddler clicked on it on accident because she saw it on the package, and it's like, no, you didn't. It's like she immediately was seeing full screen anal penetrations. Like, no, your toddler clicked several times and clicked through several warnings and then paid money.
Yeah, your toddler ripped that away. Credit card.
Yeah. No, like it's tamer than like the average ad in Europe where they just have nudity. Like it's
right. Or for the ads for mobile games that they have on Twitter, where it's just like, oh, rescue this nude woman from her bathtub. She's stuck in her bathtub.
I don't even think it's a woman at this point. I think it's just breasts.
Yeah.
Rescue these breasts.
Anyway, this is a person like try to file class action. This will go nowhere. That's not. They cannot. They're claiming that their child was traumatized by the link. They were not. They would need to bring a doctor onto the stand saying this child suffered medical harm. If that were a thing, that all of society would change. If we had medical proof that looking at some very softcore thumbnails permanently harms your mind and body.
Yeah,
wow,
we wouldn't
what a
change
lost
anything.
Society we are.
Yeah.
I did want to say though that Universal, who released Wicked, their only official comment was from their marketing officer, who said, "I always categorize incidents between what might actually damage the desire to see the movie and what might not." I think this is more of an example of one that's an anecdote. So don't worry, this won't affect Wicked's box office.
Which is true. Again, it's
Yeah, it's a funny thing,
weird
that happened.
Thing to say.
It's insane that it passed through that many hands, but again, it's also evidence that nobody types in a URL anymore they see anywhere, even people who work for that company. That's not how we consume content anymore. Anybody who actually has a website knows nobody's coming to your website anymore. Yeah. It's not
unless you're porn. Because it really is.
Unless you're wicked.com, because they were on thousands of Wicked dolls.
Yeah.
So they got a real spike in views this past week. They're like, shit, this is finally turning around.
Porn is literally not even 100 people actually went there, because you have to actually open up a browser and manually type it in.
Right. Who on earth would do that?
No. We have QR codes.
What kind of deranged freak types in a website they read on a package?
You deserve to stumble across a bunch of porn.
Yeah.
You're taking your life into your own hands at that point.
Like, everybody talks about woods porn. I like that kids now still have the magic of accidentally stumbling
take a porn,
upon
leave a porn.
Yeah.
Have accidentally stumbled across the most vanilla, overpriced. Yeah. Like, I can pay $20 to have a disc shipped to me that's got some very vanilla missionary porn on it. All right. Like, how quaint. It'll be like the old times. We will.
It'll feel like we're in the 70s again.
Should we talk about what's coming back
we can name a couple of shows that are coming back.
I suggested this because I had occasionally there's roundups, people talking about what shows come back next year, because in my youth, you used to know when the shows were coming back. They were coming back in the fall.
Yeah.
And they came back like clockwork, and then they took 3 months off, and then the next year they were back. Well, now shows will take half a decade off in between seasons.
Yeah.
So
the season's like in the middle of July, and it's 6 episodes long.
Yeah, you'll watch a TV show, and then a decade will pass, and you'll be on Netflix, and you'll be like, oh, I guess they made 2 seasons.
In fairness, The Sopranos did that.
Yeah.
But see, that was a huge deal at the time.
The
Sopranos
was
taking like a year and a half off between seasons for some reason. Like there's writer's strike or something happened. It was like a lot of press about that. Like, you've kind of forgotten about the show, or people going to remember it. And, it's so long for a show to be gone. So, for example, the show Severance, if you've not seen it on Apple's, whatever the name of their streaming service, I'm
TV
sorry,
Plus,
I
think. Some goddamn thing.
It's going to have the word plus in there, probably. Yeah. It may have the word TV in there. But it's coming back January 17th after 2.5 years or more. It was,
and that show was a hit too. Like that show, everybody's like, we love Severance, and they're like, all right, let's go as fast as we can here.
Premises for a show I've ever seen. Star-studded, expensive, looks great. I'm glad it exists. I have no memory of how that season ended. It's been gone for so long. But anyway, it's back. Squid Game, the pandemic era show that everybody watched, season 2 is in December 26th, just a few weeks away after
4 years.
Wasn't it like 2020 that it came out?
I think so. It was 2020.
Yeah. Again, the only thing I remember from the finale of season 1 is that guy dyed his hair a really obnoxious color, and I was like, oh, is his hair going to be like candy apple red when the show comes back? It doesn't look like it.
I don't like this show anymore.
The opening scene is going to be him like dyeing it back black again.
It's just like, that was a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake. He just wears a hat the entire time.
The Last of Us season 2 is back. They're saying spring.
Right. It's 2. I think they're going to do 3 total seasons. So yeah, it'll be about 10 years, and we'll get all 3.
I dread the discourse around season 2.
I don't want
to spoil anything.
Yeah.
If you want to spoil yourself, go read the discourse around part 2 of the video game,
which was a fantastic game. I'm excited for the plot, but
you could. I had to avoid any space where people were talking about that game.
Yes.
It turned ugly, and the one of the actors in the game was harassed off the internet, and it turned really ugly and really stupid. And there was, God forbid, there was a trans character in it, and then the certain people they got mad at a character and decided that she must be secretly a man or something. It got real weird. If you don't hang around places where people discuss video games, you're unaware of all of this. I'm afraid all of that discourse is going to come back with the show, and it will be awful because there's entire channels of people who their whole careers depend on getting hours and hours of content out of being outraged over some show on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're going to have to pretend it's bad, which is always the thing where it's like, it's objectively that those two games are beautifully written and the show is really good, and you're going to have a lot of people having to like pretend it's bad and that it's failing. I don't know.
Ben Shapiro losing his mind over the
Barbie movie.
No. They one episode of first season with I'm blanking on his name, Ron Swanson.
There's been I was talking about
and the guy from White Lotus. I'm blanking on both of their names.
There's literally people who are like, they made him gay, and it's like
they were gay in the video game.
Yeah, it's going to be exhausting.
Come on, people.
I'm excited for it. My big thing,
even if they weren't, it's the best episode.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me about season 2 of this is the fact that they're splitting it up. I wonder, because I assume, without spoiling anything, we all know where it will split up. Jason, did you played the game? I assume, yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but
I don't want to. It's impossible to talk about without spoiling it, because there was even stuff about one of the actors who was doing another show at the same time. Like, wow, how can this person be in both shows? That's weird. How are they able to find the time to be on? Nope, stop.
Right.
Don't look it up.
I think it's gonna. I actually don't agree, because that's fairly early. I think it's gonna happen when the.
I'm not talking about that. Yeah. I'm saying it's the perspective. I know
when the perspective changes.
How we have to talk about it. If they do choose to do that, and I assume they will. The same thing that enraged people, but I will be back on the show when the Last of Us comes back to discuss everyone being enraged about it.
Yeah.
But just quickly, other shows people who listen to this may care about. Invincible, the fantastic animated series on Prime, is back in February for season 3. I think
that's right. Yeah. There was a big gap between 1 and 2.
Yeah, but that's why I bring this up, because there was a huge gap between 1 or 2. They've managed to get this next one out quickly, so that's cool. They seemed committed to there not being these big gaps, because this is a Robert Kirkman thing, right?
Yeah.
Of Walking Dead fame, and he seems really intent on not having that 2.5 year gap anymore, which is impressive because that has become the norm. Euphoria, a show that I thought I just heard had been canceled. They apparently are about to start shooting the next season of that. It's not going to return until 2026 when all of the actors are in their 40s. That'll be like a 4-year gap. Last season was in 2022.
Word on the street is they are flashing forward in the story's timeline. So, yeah, I mean, they kind of have to.
Yeah, everybody's real old.
Yeah, everybody is visibly an adult.
They've got teenagers of their own at some point. Same thing with Stranger Things comes back. What's the date? Is that April, I think, of next year?
This is where it starts really getting bad, because like I watched the new Rings of Power, right? And like they did a recap for season 1, and I was like, okay, I got it. With Stranger Things, I'm like, I don't want to have to feel like I have to watch 3 seasons to watch the 4th season. You know what I mean? Where it's like every new season, you're like, do I have to go back and watch everything so I can fucking remember?
Well, think about it too. Like, remember when the first season came out? We'll be getting season 5 9 years after season 1 came out.
I just Googled it. It looks like season 5 of Stranger. It looks like it's going to be Q4 of 2025. If it doesn't
very nearly 10
years. So what was a show about children. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown has been married now for a few years, and may be a mother herself at this point. I don't know. I don't follow celebrity news, but again, the whole thing was that she was a child ran away from this facility, very much an adult now. All these people are adults, and I get it. There's nothing they can do about that, but I don't know. It's 5 seasons. Like the equivalent show of our youth was like Lost or the X-Files, and these shows that would do 25 episodes a year, every year, like clockwork. And if they had a rerun that week, we would all yell at each other and get mad because like, well, I thought there's going to be a new Lost this week. And now it's like, Jesus, it would have taken him, there's like 200 episodes of that show.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a different model. And I get it. There's reasons for it, but it's also one reason why people don't care as much about these shows. Like they're just gone from your lives for so long. Like House of the Dragon isn't coming back until like definitely not next year. I'm assuming it'd be 2026. Like it's 2 years minimum just because of the effects work.
Right.
Just the size of those productions too, like Game of Thrones.
Like
enormous.
There's no way that young people are watching this shit, right? Like they'll probably watch it when they get older. But I feel like this is why, like, I don't know, how many episodes of Skibbity Toilet are there? I bet there's a lot.
Forget about shows. The streamers are on every day for 3 or 4 hours every day. Like it's present in your life every day. The guy's on there.
TV used to be for, where it's like
cable.
At least once a week. Yeah.
Anyway, other shows, the Daredevil show. I don't know if a lot of people realize that the old gritty Daredevil show with that cast is being reborn on Disney Plus. That's coming in March. Daredevil Born Again. The next Game of Thrones spinoff, because they've got a bunch in production. A Knight of Seven Kingdoms that is out late next year. That's the Hedge Knight books. One of the many projects that George R.R. Martin worked on to avoid writing the next Game of Thrones book, which is never going to be written. He's got so many.
Doesn't he have 2 more books to write?
All right. I'm sure we all understand this, right? Which is that we're all writers. It's excruciating to write. It's hard to find the time.
Oh, the last thing I want to do any given day is write.
It's so much easier if they're just like, what have you already written? Great. Here's millions of dollars. And you're like, cool. All right, let's just keep doing this then. Like the part where I don't have to write and you just keep giving me money. That's great. Like, I get it.
Book, sure.
At one point, HBO had 6 spinoffs in the works. I'd have no idea how many of them are still alive, but if they all make money, they'll keep doing them.
They made that entire one with Naomi Watts and then canceled it, like pulled the plug on it before it even premiered.
Yeah. That's wild.
Then the Harry Potter series on HBO is not out until 2026. That's not going to come in 2025. They've already said that. But for the very insulated bubble of Twitter that I'm on that thinks that J.K. Rowling has been canceled, like, oh no, they will. That is a
they don't give a shit.
If you learned nothing from the lessons of Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah,
I saw people on Twitter talking about how, well, wait till they try to cast this show because no actor is going to be in this. It is a star-studded. They've got Cillian Murphy as Voldemort. It will be. No, nobody will hesitate to take this paycheck, and they will issue some statement of like, well, of course I support trans people and protect trans children. Of course, I don't support some of the things she said, but I just feel like the magic that is Harry Potter has brought so much joy and life to children around the world that's what ultimately matters. And the fact that I'm making $10 million per episode also factored in to some degree. Because again, what they will spend on this is unimaginable. I cannot fathom what they're going to spend on this, because that's, again, there will be merch. They've got the parks. It is just rains money. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to be, man. It's going to be something. It's going to be it's a little disheartening where it's like for multiple reasons. One being where I'm just like, we don't need this, right? Like, I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care. Jurassic Park miniseries. Make it and readapt the book. Do something like that. That has been a while. Where it's like we just did Harry Potter. It's like feels like Teletubbies, where they're like, let's just again.
Well, they're
Immediately.
trying to mulligan from them Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Because it turns out that there was, in fact, just that one set of characters that people like. It's like, no, we'll set more things in this universe. Like, wait, no, don't do that.
Yeah, because
in fact, I can guarantee you they're going to make a Harry Potter sequel film trilogy at some point, bringing back. It'll be about the grown up, because the whole lore. I think if I remember the epilogue of the books, like Harry goes on to become like a wizard detective as an adult or whatever,
right?
And you'll be a grizzled alcoholic.
They'll make
Harry
the cursed
Potter.
child into a movie for sure.
Yeah, they will.
And the actors will come back, and they'll issue their statements and say, well, look, of course we can't, we have to learn to be able to disagree with the people we work with, and to be civil in how we talk about these issues. But we just felt like when we saw the script that it had to be brought to life. Such a powerful story, and it speaks to all of us. And
the signature on the check really spoke to me.
Yeah,
struck something deep inside.
And if that doesn't happen, if all of them, if Daniel Radcliffe, if they do in fact get offered and they refuse on principle, I will personally apologize to each one of them. If Rupert Grint, I don't know how much his residuals are from the original movies. I'm guessing that money is close to gone. If he says no, I will go get a real job before I will work under her again. I will salute him for that. I don't think that's the way it's going to happen.
He's listening too, so he'll get that message.
Oh yeah, I do think Harry Potter is probably one of the last ones that the residuals for like TV, because you see it on TV all the fucking time still. Where I bet the residual deals with that was like just got in, where like they're probably making good money. He's probably fine.
Yeah. Before the world changed, it was
Yeah. All right.
Let's name some more producers. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Big old thank you to Norm from Cheers.
Norm.
Thank you. Thank you to Numino Ultramicroscopic Siliconiosis Anti-Disestablishment Terranism Jones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Psychic Bigfoot.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pumpkin Spiced Ed Nog.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Rev MD.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you.
Thank you to Robert.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Thank you.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Steven.
Thank you.
Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head. Thank you.
Thank you. So convenient. All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Municipal Medicinal Arsonist.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Tubi Terror Bunny thinks you could use more Rutger Hauer in your media diet.
Thank you.
Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thanks.
Thank you to Tiger Drawers Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tom's Baby is Neat.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you to Tux.
Tux.
Thank you to Vincent, but spelled with a Y like the vampires do.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you to Will rhymes with Bill, or Bill rhymes with Will.
Thank you.
Thank you to Yorgos from the island of Crete.
Thank you.
And finally, thanks to your mom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo. Oh, it was a quick episode.
Yeah, it was a short one today. It was a short one. Sometimes there's just not a lot to talk about,
Yeah.
But since there wasn't a lot to talk about,
funny that there wasn't a lot to talk about.
Since there wasn't much to talk about, Dave, I wonder if before we go, you have a movie that deserves more hype.
I do.
You magnificent angel, you.
I was scared we covered this already because the trailer is a year old.
We definitely didn't.
Okay.
I would have remembered this.
Yeah, I feel like you would have. I feel like I would have.
Yeah,
folks.
We like Chuck Russell in this house. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
Well, this one's a bit of this is like a more of a call to action. The movie is Witchboard, but you might recognize that as a movie from the 80s, I want to say.
Yeah,
this is the remake of Witchboard that is, at least I think it's been in festivals like last year. It exists. This movie exists. You can watch the trailer. It's the remake. If people haven't watched Witchboard, it's the original Ouija.
Yeah.
It's a movie about a haunted Ouija board. We watched it on movie night. It was pretty fun. And I think we even said like this needs to be remade. And it's being remade by, as Tom said, Chuck Russell. If that name doesn't pop out at you, that is the director of Dream Warriors, The Nightmare on Elm Street, The Blob, the 80s remake, but also The Mask and The Scorpion King and Eraser. So Chuck Russell's been around the block.
An eclectic dude.
He has made a remake of Witchboard, a movie that is being delayed because critics did not care for it. But there are reviews that seem to know what this movie is supposed to be, and it's supposed to be for people like us. The one review here from Rue Morgue just said it prioritizes madness and commotion over artistry and coherence, and comes away successful in that quest. It's compared to The Relic, The Wishmaster, in that it is a late 90s horror thriller vibe of practical creature effects. It was also in this review compared to Jumanji for some reason. And so it's all to say that it's a throwback film to like The Wishmaster with 90s practical effects that's apparently completely off the rails, and it's a remake of Witchboard. I'm not sure why we haven't seen this movie yet. Like, why didn't both candidates run on releasing this movie during the election season?
It really might have swung
Why aren't we all
things,
demanding it? Yeah.
Why don't I own this? Why isn't this movie inside my house?
It exists. And I'm scared they're going to cut it to hell before it comes out. Because it's
so. I don't get the economics or the politics around projects like this, because this is not a big budget movie, right?
No, it couldn't. See the trailer.
Yeah. So they made it on the cheap. I get that the challenge with not releasing something in the theaters is that you're tacking on another $50 million in costs,
distribution,
in advertising, instead distribution. Like, I get that, but in terms of dumping it to streaming, I've seen the stuff that gets dumped to streaming. It's not worse than this, and it doesn't have a brand name attached to it. Like, this is a known IP. They could make their money back. It seems like a distributor somewhere would pay them their budget back and then would make it back in streaming. It's horror. It's low budget horror. It all makes money.
A remake of a recognizable cult movie too. Like, it has a name that horror fans will recognize.
It'll get coverage in all of the horror press, all of the websites and the podcasts that talk about horror. They'll all talk about it. They'll all mention it. They'll all steer the horror. That's why this stuff all makes money, because the horror fans all flock to this weird stuff, something like Skinamarink or Take Your Pick. Terrify. It's a fantastic example. Like, there's a press, there's a mechanism for getting the word out for free. You can do a tour, among all these YouTube channels, and they would love a Witchboard remake. They would, even if it's bad, they would love talking about how bad it is or whatever. It seems like this is where it shows I don't know anything about the industry, because this seems like a sure thing, not in the way that Star Wars is a sure thing, but in the way that Smile 4 will be a sure thing. You're going to make it on a budget. You're not going to go crazy. And it's going to make its money back from curiosity seekers or whatever, and you'll have a tidy little profit. But the fact that they're sitting on this and refusing, the distributors don't want to touch it, is weird to me. I honestly don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, they put out The Craft Legacy. I mean, that movie.
Yeah.
Had a wizard fight with David Duchovny, so I enjoyed it. But they'll do whatever.
They spent $500 million on that Exorcist movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there's a place for this.
What are we doing?
And yeah.
Why can't we put this out? Come on.
The other thing, the 90s throwback, like, that's the new 80s, right? Where it's it looks like a cheesy 90s film from late 90s. It's like, that's perfect.
But that wasn't my touchstone, though, because I was thinking of The Blob.
Oh, yeah.
And Dream Warriors. So, but I like that Chuck Russell has two generations of horror fans.
Yeah, and I like that they're doing throwbacks. It kind of reminds me of, like, one of the weirdest things about John Carpenter is when you watch his films, you realize that he is of his time every movie, meaning that, like, his movies in the 80s feel like 80s movies. And then you go watch, like, Ghosts of Mars, and you're like, this feels like a fucking mid 2000s movie. And he'll make movies of their time, which is why his later movies are perhaps not as good, because they're mimicking the horror at that time that was like, not as scary, or people don't tend to love it. So, but like, it feels like the same with this, where he's just like, yeah, I'll make any era like cheesy throwback, and that's what this is. Like, it looks like it has some CGI, but it's like the review I was seeing was saying like it looks great if you imagine like it came out in the 90s. Like, it looks like a high budget 90s film, and that's
so it looks great. In other words,
it looks awesome. Yeah,
I feel like some of these people are like, this kind of gatekeeping bothers me, because like, I mean, any kind of gatekeeping bothers me, but it's particularly shitty here because it's clear like a lot of these people who are doing these reviews that you included aren't quite getting it.
Well, the ones that I am reviewing are a little more like, these are the positive ones that are this movie's batshit.
Gotcha.
But it got a lot of it got a lot of negative reviews from people who probably don't get it, who are probably like, because like these reviews are saying like the movie knows, like it knows what it is. It's not winking at us the way we're used to with Sharknado and so on, where it's like, it's not being ironic. It just knows that it's like, yeah, what if we're really cheesy but take ourselves seriously?
Yeah, it seems like, yeah, well, it seems like from the write-up here that it's only been screened for like executives, and it's been in festivals, you said.
It was at a festival, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But again, a festival, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a mixed bag.
Yeah, I have to believe if you did like, even if they did do the screen test thing where they focus group this to death, if you got the focus group of people who were actually going to be watching this movie, you'd probably get a better response, and you wouldn't be hemming and hawing about, at the very least putting it on Shudder or something.
Yeah, these are for fans of this era of horror, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: is part of the factor here that Chuck Russell is very much in director jail and has been for 22 years? Because if you look at his IMDb, it was huge. The biggest budget projects, like Schwarzenegger vehicle with a $200 million budget. Like, he was in charge of the Jim Carrey effects heavy Jim Carrey film. He was getting the biggest superstar vehicles for a few years in the late 90s, and then made The Scorpion King.
Right,
and his career was shut off like an off switch after that. He was by the 2020s was making those freaking direct to streaming Bruce Willis movies, where a senile Bruce Willis was being fed lines through like an earpiece, and they were having to like insert him into the movie through creative editing because he couldn't really move. He was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And to put that in perspective real quick, sorry, the Scorpion King was not a bomb. Like,
it also wasn't his fault.
No.
It was like he was in the Mummy, and they're like, we're making the spin. It could have been any director.
Yeah.
They were going to attach whoever. Yeah, no, it bought that. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case.
No, it made a decent amount of money. It's not it got trashed critically, and it did become a punchline very quickly.
Oh yeah, I need to point out, because I just looked at this director's career, and boy, this should have been the movie that deserved more hype. His movie after Witchboard, there's no trailer or anything, but it's called White House Demon. And it's
obviously,
about the president of the United States is possessed by a demon, and they have to exit. Like, that is, we're in a brand new like exorcism era where they're like, we've done it all. What if we just like, what if Russell Crowe? What if Russell Crowe was possessed? It's now just like, what if blank was possessed? And no, it's wild that no one thought to do what if the president was possessed, and it looks like
The Omen,
World War III is at stake here. Yeah. But it sounds like it's a nun having to do an exorcism on the president before he starts World War III. Which, when you think about it again from a demonic perspective, it's like, yeah, why hadn't the demon done this?
Why hasn't the president? Yeah.
Why
hasn't the president been possessed every week?
So the future is bright, is my point. Like, we have a lot.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, including this Witchboard movie, but like right to your congressman.
Yeah,
right.
Not about anything else, just about this.
Yeah, and let's get Witchboard released.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
it deserves it.
Yeah. And that's it.
I think that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. We did it.
I think we've completed an episode. That's a
And then some.
sode. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Jason, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
Yep,
thank you.
sorry I made this show 2 hours long again.
It was a delight. People are going to love it. They always love it.
Yeah. We schedule them for 2 hours when we have you on.
Yeah, we know. We know what's going to happen.
We know it's
It's like when you're a venue and Guar is playing. It's like, yeah, you're going to tarp the speakers and stuff. You know what Guar is going to do. At the end of this, you want to plug some stuff?
Yeah,
one more
it's your
time?
plugs again.
Oh, me? Yeah, the
Yeah.
book is called I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom. It is available in every format, hardcover, ebook, audio. I don't read the audiobook. A professional does. They probably, if you're listening to this before the holidays, probably a good sale somewhere. I think Audible has all of their audiobooks on deep discount for Audible Plus members, whatever that is. But yeah, you should get it cheaper. People sometimes ask me, like, as an author, what way can I buy it that helps you the most? Don't worry about that. Find the cheapest copy of it wherever you can find it. Don't steal it.
Don't steal
It's
it.
a crime. But whatever discount, if you wait for it to go cheaper on Kindle, do whatever fits your budget. Because frankly, asking somebody to pay $30 for a book is outrageous.
They've always been that way too, like hardcovers. Anyway, I feel like they've been $30 as long as I've been alive.
It's the greedy authors that you're having to pay. That's the thing. It's not what it costs to print the book. It's because the money's got to. Daddy likes cheese. You're funding my lavish lifestyle.
The golden toilets don't pay for themselves.
That's true.
They do, but you have to pay for them first.
Right. What else is happening?
I don't know, Dave. Say some words.
We have a Patreon. Patreon.com/GamefullyUnemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons. That's tonight. Next week is Friday the 13th, Tom. I wonder what we'll have to fucking pull out of our asses to watch. But yeah, come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun. You watch movies.
Probably some of the ones we discussed today.
Yeah. And we have an exclusive page, the podcast too. Tom and Jeff watch Batman. Fox Mulder Maniac, Star Trek Next Future, I'm Spiel Boys. All right, Tom, you do yours.
You can commission your own podcast about anything you want. You guys know the deal.
Batical.
Catch the new show Batical. On wherever podcasts are consumed.
I listened to it, and I know I'm in it because I'm biased, but boy, was I in stitches of your intro. And then Brockway, I forgot what he had done to us. And I was like, this is amazing. It's truly incredible.
He does not stop talking for 40 minutes.
No, it's like, wow, that's an endurance test. Yeah.
Check that show out. Check out our store, gamefullyunemployed.com. There's a link to our Teespring store. There's probably a sale at Teespring for the holidays. I don't know. Check it out if you want to. That's enough. That's enough. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew, or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.